On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. There is some major divides going to be going on over the next short period of time. Heavy, hardcore information attacks are happening. Again, I like Pam Bondi. I like Kash Patel. I'm assuming this is an attack. We'll find out how this plays out. I don't know if Pam really did mess up as bad as she potentially might have. We'll see. I don't know. This is very interesting, and maybe, again, I don't know. I don't want to speculate into where this is leading and what this might lead into. Laura Loomer being called out hugely, and also Pete Hegseth again. Just a lot of strange stuff going on. Also, a very breaking news in regards to the Supreme Court, and we're going to get to that here in just a quick moment. Live music happening today. It's based off of the song Send Me an Angel by Real Life. Very, very good song. And I found just a bunch of really cool 80s music. It's going to be a fun show today. If you check it out, if you can join live, it's 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern on Fridays. If you want to just watch it after the effect, just go to my channel, and you should find it over there. I do have a playlist that I'm reasonably good at keeping updated. I'll forget sometimes for a week or two, but generally I'm pretty good about making sure those shows show up in there. It's kind of an easy way to find it. Here's the breaking news that I want to get into first. This is huge, in my opinion, not to oversell.
We're getting some breaking news at this hour coming out of the Supreme Court. The U.S. Supreme Court has handed President Trump a victory, letting him and his administration use the 1798 law that historically has been employed only in wartime to swiftly deport alleged Venezuelan gang members as part of the Republican president's hardline approach to immigration, granting that administration request to lift the Washington-based U.S. judge James Boasberg's March 15th order that had temporarily blocked the summary deportations under the Alien Enemies Act while litigation in the case continues. So the Supreme Court has waited.
Big time right there. So Boasberg, F.U., by the way. I'm sure he's going to continue to fight, but that was a big move for sure. Donald Trump made a pretty brilliant statement, of course, a while back, but this is pretty good. I think a lot of you guys are going to dig this.
Let me quote the same passage from the Bible I read on Saturday from 1 John chapter 4. No one has ever seen God, but if we love one another, God lives in us, and his love is made complete in us, all of us. Made complete in us. Imagine what our country could accomplish if we started working toward one people, under one God, saluting one flag.
I wish we could just stop killing each other as a general population on this planet. It just still blows my mind that we can't get past that, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm not doing a huge deep dive on the post by the Pope by any stretch of the imagination. Just some interesting info came out without wanting to spend a great deal of time on it. The new Pope apparently shared a social media post that was critical of Trump's immigration policies. So there's a lot of people that are like, oh, this Pope, he definitely doesn't like Trump. This Pope definitely doesn't seem to be Democrat either, by the way. It was one of the things that always, I guess, I don't know, we've got this next story after this one, but the left has made it such that in the United States that they didn't want to pull popes from here because of the influence of the left, the progressiveness and just all that, and it would have tainted what they maybe want to do. We'll see what the judges or what the Pope is actually going to do with the church. Cardinal Dolan said why Donald Trump's anti-immigrant rhetoric is so problematic. This is the dude that's now the Pope, Robert Provost, whatever, right? So he's had some tough words to say. Now, this was the part where they said, and this is just a well-done article, not to anything, but it was done sort of Russian-esque, and they're more of their Orthodox views, so they've got kind of respect for the Pope and everything it does. But they had talked about how the fact that they chose this Prevost individual implies that he's not liberal, though he's demonstrated through his comments against Trump or anti-Trump or whatever, that he's not necessarily pro-Trump by any stretch of the imagination either. Now, again, Trump and J.D. Vance both have said, hey, congrats, well done, good job. So there's a lot of discussion around this guy and what he's going to be able to do, what he's here to do. We do have some keys to that. In the first appearance, Pope Leo offers 3 big clues, they say, about his papacy or about what we can expect. They said his first clue was his choice of name. Popes often use this choice to send their first major signal about the priorities of their new papacy. Francis took his name from the 13th century St. Francis of Assisi, who rejected wealth and wanted to care for the poor. The last pope to take that name, Leo the 13th, focused much of his 1878 to 1903 papacy on advocating for the rights of workers, calling for fair pay, fair working conditions, and the right to join unions. By picking the name Leo the 14th, he shows he is committed to the social teaching of the church, which is not necessarily a good thing. Probably left-leaning for sure, but maybe not too far left-leaning. So he does speak all the languages he's supposed to. What's the final? A third clue. His choice of attire. He didn't kind of come in as douchey as Francis would. Francis wore all the adornments and all the crazy shit. This guy is just like, he's got his real plain white, white, I don't know the proper word for it, smock I want to call it, but I don't think that's correct. They're talking about wore the traditional red papal garment over his white cassock. So yes, again, I even helped a couple times. I never learned all those stupid terms. I always thought it was lame, frankly. I'll be honest with you. I brought up Catholic. I didn't care that much about all their traditions. Now, again, you talk about organized witchcraft and stuff. I'm not saying this is I'm just making a funny little statement, so please don't jump all over me. But, a lot of people get like witches and stuff. Big thing with witchcraft and witchery type stuff is there's these special situations, these routines, these processes they get into, right? And you have to do all these certain things, and you've got to have everything laid out where it's supposed to be, the adornments and all that, right? These are rituals. That's what I was looking for. So rituals are generally affiliated with witchcraft and the occult and stuff like that. Vatican Church is extraordinarily ritualistic. The entire Mass is ritualistic. Again, not trying to be disrespectful. I'm just pointing out that it's funny how some rituals are perfectly okay when we do them, and others aren't. And again, there was one thing, and this was one of the things I guess that kind of bothered me. This is one of the things I stopped saying. But there's a Lord. Although I am not worthy to receive you, only say the word and I shall be healed. And I used to be like, I am worthy to receive you, God. I'm a very good individual. I'm down here doing an excellent job. So for me to even imply that I'm not good enough, I'm like, oh, there's so much like weird stuff baked into this. And that's when I really started to kind of step away from the church. A lot of it as my spiritual understandings grew. I realized how much weird stuff is baked into their situation. Anyway, again, it's been a fun life, I'll tell you, trying to get through all this. Now, this is the papacy. This is, I called it the serpent room. They got a fancy Italian name for it. This is supposed to be Jesus, by the way. This is an image of Jesus here in the same room. It's at the very, very front in the snake's mouth. That'll make more sense here in a second. I just wanted you to get a good close-up because you're never going to really be able to see it again in the rest of the pictures. Very trippy, very weird. It looks, I don't know, somewhat reptilian, many would say. That just looks very strange. This is what I call the snake room. This is right up here is where that little thing was that we were just staring at right here. The two things that look like teeth, the little things that look like eyes. This is a friggin' snake's friggin' head. This is Vatican. This is where the Pope does his popeness. Some interesting coloring with the red up front, but yeah. I mean, again, beautiful stained glass, but this is the snake room. So, I don't know, just saying. Here's another example of some of the weirdities and how they're just always right in front of our face. And yet, we don't want to believe them. This one's easier to believe than maybe the church stuff. So Obama imports 70,000 Somali immigrants and settles them in Minnesota, where most cluster into a single area, specifically the 5th Congressional District. That district was recently identified by the FBI as America's terrorist recruitment capital and is represented by Ilhan Omar, who is calling for the dissolution of the Department of Homeland Security. Are we starting to see it yet? Now, anything she's tied in is going to come down. Maybe she'll be one of the first arrests. Who knows, I should say. So, again, crazy stuff going on all over the place. Just to take some jabs at this retard, Gavin Newsom, he's mad at MAGA people, for sure. And so what he's doing is he's got California taxpayer money being used to go online on X, I think specifically, and find these anonymous X accounts and hold them accountable for their lies. And maybe probably trying to get them shut up, but I know that's not happening. But this is literally a dude's like, oh, I'm worried about this fake speech and this misinformation. And so he's literally got people that are trying to like troll others or something, or undo our misinformation, because I think he called us MAGA trolls. Again, Gavin Newsom wants to run for president, folks. As much as it might seem like I'm just trying to talk about some of my California crap, which I am, Gavin Newsom wants to run for the country, and he's a douche. And I honestly think he's probably one of their strongest bets. Unfortunately, he's a white dude. And they're like, damn it, can't we find anyone that's not white, that isn't a dude, that's, please? And it's like, most people respond to men in authoritative positions much better than women. Most do. They just do. Again, I've had many women bosses. I always get along great with women in general. This was brought to my attention. I didn't know this. There's another recall effort going on for Gavin Newsom. So for any of my friends in California, I would love it if you'd go to savingcalifornia.vote. You can go /home if you want to make it easy, but I think you ultimately are going to end up at the home. You want to go to get the petition, and the instructions are tied with that, so you can go to get to the petition and download it and sign it and mail it where it needs to go and all this nonsense. So do that. You can email questions if you got questions, but certainly go to savingcalifornia.vote /home. And please, if you're from another state, please don't do it. Because, we don't want a bunch of crap showing up. It's not helping the situation. If you've got people from other states that are signing this proposition, you can say, I hate Gavin Newsom too. I live in Arizona. It's like, you guys, I would rather you try to pry us off into the ocean, frankly, than mess with our stupid petition. I think we'll get plenty of signatures, but doing my part. Marine Corps reports pilot error in another helicopter crash that killed 5 in California. This was, I think, a while back. Yeah, February 6th, 2024, call sign Tiger 43, conducting a routine flight. Weather was bad, got too close to the mountains, and crashed into him. Now, how many of you guys figured, like I did, there's probably some DEI stuff going on. I wonder who the crew was. Now, again, not trying to shade or throw disrespect, right? Sucks losing anybody, right? These people all have family that have been left behind. But you will find that none of them meet the criteria of what you might call DEI. None of them. This was just a bad incident. They got too close to the ground. Kind of a rookie move, sort of. They weren't following proper procedures for visual flight. And, slammed into the ground. Going too fast. Nobody lived. Pretty sad. Jarring report found that millions of dollars in federal and state funds are going to bots or fake students. And it's typically the junior colleges in California that are guilty of doing this. They got literally bot farms that are creating fake students and getting money from the state for classes that are usually remote, so they never have to demonstrate the fact that there's not a real person. And literally, California's doled out many millions of dollars. They say $10 million in federal funds and $3 million state funds, I think, to fake students. See, this is Gavin Newsom. This is what Biden was trying to do. This is what they want to do to the country. They want to essentially use the money however they want and imprison us. Just make us slaves. Literally, slaves. If you pay enough in taxes, you can't afford anything. So after national outrage, I'd like to take a little credit for this. California Dems restore a bill making child prostitution a felony. Good job, guys. I mean, I can't believe that we literally had to beat you down to get you to do this, but well done. At least there is hope in the big picture. Executive orders by presidents in the first 100 days. Donald Trump wins. Yes, well done, sir. Thank you very much. 130 in his first 100 days. I don't know if that, 13. There's a big number. There's a big FU to the deep state. 113, big fat 13. 93 on Roosevelt's first term. On Roosevelt's second term, he had 62. In his third term, he had 80. Overall, Roosevelt had a butt ton, is what we would call that. Trump had only 33 in his first term. So he could maybe surpass Roosevelt. I'm assuming he'll have to. And then, of course, everybody else under the sun. Who was Hoover at 59. Truman down here. There's Joseph Biden. Biden, the 42. Not bad. Not bad. Made the top 10 for a retard. I know, I've said that word twice. Doesn't matter. I might say it more. British Airways owner is going to order 53 Airbus and Boeing long-haul planes. Just a good deal for two big airway companies. British Airways, I think, is reasonably good. They've had an excellent earnings report came out. So they're going to be ordering 32 Boeing 787 Series 10 aircraft and 21 Airbus. The SE A330 or A330, the Neo planes. I'm not very familiar with British or the Airbus planes. I've been on a few of them. Never an A330, I don't believe. I think no, yeah. Never a 787, never a 777. I don't even know if I've been on a 767 yet in my life, oddly. I had a DC-10 way back in the day. That was the biggest plane I was ever on. But yeah, seriously, I don't fly much. Don't like to. Hate traveling. Not fun. I mean, I love flying. It's honestly one of my favorite things to do. I enjoy flying. I dislike travel. It's just a pain in the ass, and it makes it very hard to do all the things I need to do. I'm just selfish. Let's see. Yeah, so that's all happening. That's good stuff. Good sales. EU's trying to strike a hard deal with the United States. They're talking about $95 billion euro retaliation tariff against the United States. Von der Leyen, and he's been saying nice stuff about her. Whatever, Ursula. I don't know, maybe it was Little Mermaid. Wasn't that the name of that witchy chick, the octopus witch? Wasn't that Ursula? Ursula, stop. I felt like there was that, anyway, whatever the case was, a long time ago, in a different place. I was younger then. $95 billion retaliation, though. Trump's probably not going to, he's probably not going to respond well to that. Now, China asked the U.S. to cancel tariffs before trade talks. That's absolutely ridiculous. But Trump kind of is like willing to meet in the middle. He says, 80% tariffs on China seems right. Like willing to bring them back a little bit. They're at 145 right now. He's like, but it's up to Scott Bessent, right? We'll see what he thinks. And so, I don't know. I don't know if anything's been said yet. China is a little bit of panic, it seems. They've shut down their economic data. This isn't necessarily okay, but what are you going to do? But starting the last several months, and in some cases dating back several years, China has gone dark in reporting the following: land sales, foreign investment, unemployment numbers, business confidence, numbers of investors in financial markets, real estate valuation, retail sales, and even vital data on cremations, so that health authorities have no idea what is going on. The bureaus have simply stopped reporting. So close watchers have long raised doubts about China's GDP data. There was a suggestion that they might be a little closer to 2% instead of 5%. Well, the individual that was saying that, he's not really been seen since. He's lost his job, lost his legal rights to speak on behalf of the Chinese economy. And so, that's how those kinds of things are met with. So China is going out of their minds to pretend they're strong. Again, pretend you're strong when you're weak. Pretend you're weak when you're strong. I don't know if China's doing as well as everyone wants to think China is doing. Russian exports to U.S. rise sharply, up 50% February to March. Just kind of demonstrating that we seem to be doing more with the Russians. Hopefully we're not buying weapons from them, though that'd be kind of funny. Gold up a little bit today. Stock markets are down, not a bunch. I mean, they're mostly flat, really. Dow's down a little, but I think they started okay, or started way down, and then, I don't know, rebounded a little maybe. Whatever the case is. Started up, actually, and then went down. So, gold's at 33.43 right now. It's doing well. Again, the dollar was stronger, then got weaker. Look, folks, I don't know. I don't trust the system. I don't like the system. I don't think it's a good idea to stay in the system. If you're somebody that's thinking in those same lines, I'll tell you what, my friends at Goldco are awesome at helping you get out of that system. If you got a 401k or an IRA, you can get out tax-free and penalty-free. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. 4 data points. Give me my free report and my free coin. Bam. Right there, half-ounce Ronald Reagan coin, right? Put all the data in there. I think if you call in 20 minutes, it's preferred. If not, they're going to try to reach out to you. But ultimately, that's how you get the coin. It's worth like 16, 17, 18 bucks, 20 bucks. It's a collector's coin. Probably worth more like 30 if you think about it. Just for giving us a try to see what we can do to protect your wealth from... Here's the thing. It's like everybody's like, Trump can't let it get bad. There's no way, right? And here's what it comes down to. Trump can't be blamed. Remember that. He can't be blamed for what's going to happen. Now, he's been putting Jerome Powell under the bus because he's not raising rates like he kind of should. There's other people that he's already painting in the light and preparing the narrative for what likely might come. And an adjustment sort of needs to happen because it's really the only way to shake people loose and to finally look at things differently. And as long as they can't blame Trump for it, which I don't think they'll be able to, we win. So this scary as this may be, it's a game of chicken, and I think that's kind of what we're going through. Frankly, you can protect your wealth. You can get out of that stupid system for now, and you can get back into it at a later date when everything's sold down, and then it's a perfect buying opportunity. You got the highest price buyback guarantee with Goldco. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Get your free book, your free coin, your free smile from Dan. All these things. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Protect that wealth before they take it away. Speaker Johnson, they're having a hard time with the Republican Party in general, with this giant, big, beautiful bill, whatever the hell they're calling it. They were supposed to get $2 trillion in savings. They've only been able to come up with $1.5 trillion in spending cuts. And so they seem to be a little short of this idea of not raising the debt at all. And that's a big, big deal with, Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene and any of the Freedom Caucus people. It's a huge deal. So he's going to lose out on, 15 to 20 votes if he can't get that part covered. So there's a lot of shenanigans going on. Maybe some of it, too, would depend on whether or not Trump can make things happen. But, ultimately, that needs to be factored in. If he's bringing in extra tariffs and stuff like that, that's extra money into the economy, so that can help pay for some of this. But it's not really how budgets are typically made. You don't know what sales you're going to necessarily get. You can try to hit numbers. So Speaker Johnson and other party leaders face competing budget demands from lawmakers. The $5.8 trillion concurrent budget resolution, which gives congressional committees funding directions to pass President Donald Trump's tax and other policy goals, barely passed both chambers in April. Fiscal hardliners only backed it on the promise of deep spending cuts. Now, $1.5 trillion is not bad. In a recent letter sent to House Speaker Mike Johnson, the Majority Leader Steve Scalise, 32 Republican lawmakers reiterated that our support depends at minimum on the bill's strict adherence to the House framework for instructions contained in the concurrent budget resolution. Under the House framework, the reconciliation bill must not add to the deficit. We must hold that line on fiscal discipline to put the country back on a sustainable path. I kind of agree. As much as I'm probably getting in bed with Thomas Massey right now. It sucks, but whatever. Maybe that guy will eventually come back to the right places. Senator Josh Hawley demands vote on the Pelosi Act. Put people on the record. He wants to basically get all the people who's supporting this, who's not supporting it. It'll be important, too, because there'll be some Democrats that'll probably cross the line on this as well. But it's called the Pelosi Act. And if I can find it, it'll tell me. There it is. Preventing elected leaders from owning securities and investments, a.k.a. Pelosi Act, in an April to ban members of Congress from voting. Long story short, wants to get the vote on it. So MS-13 sentencing. Prosecutors say Omar Antonio Villalta received 55 years in prison for his role in a 2017 killing of 4 teens. Suspected Tren de Aragua gang member arrested in Texas alien smuggling sting. Bexar County Sheriff Department Organized Crime Unit executed 2 search warrants on residences in San Antonio, leading to the arrest of 5 suspects due to long-running investigations into human smuggling. Sheriff Javier Salazar told reporters one suspect is believed to be a member of the notorious Venezuelan Tren de Aragua gang. Third illegal alien charged for vicious kidnapping of North Carolina family. They got 3 of these people now in custody. Very sad case. So again, ICE is moving to detainees to Texas. I talked about this before. This is all they had to do, and that's what they're doing now. ICE is moving detainees to Texas facility where judge declined to halt deportations. Not a lot these judges can do about moving, somebody from state to state, especially if it's federal at that point. They can kind of move them around. They're sort of allowed to. Of course, they're going to try to stop them, but I think that Supreme Court ruling is going to make that challenging as well. Tom Homan, friggin' rock star, wanted to give him a moment to just demonstrate.
I'm working for the greatest president of my lifetime. I don't care if people like him or love him. No one's done more than President Trump to secure this nation. His success during his first administration, unprecedented success. We had the most secured border in a lifetime, handed it to Joe Biden, who destroyed it on purpose. That pissed me off for 4 years. So when President Trump asked me to come back for the second time, I didn't hesitate. And look what President Trump, we got the most secure border in the history of this nation right now, and he did that in 7 weeks, that Joe Biden couldn't or wouldn't do in 4 years.
I think likely couldn't, didn't even know how to. Wasn't even running the country anyway, Joe Biden. Trump appoints Judge Jeanine Pirro as interim U.S. attorney for D.C. Now, one of the things that's funny about this whole little D.C. thing, and somebody kind of pointed this out, and I forget who it was. I think it was Brian Cates, actually, oddly. 2 days in a row now. I'm kind of agreeing with the guy. It's cool. It happens. It's good. Who knows? But the discussion was around the fact that every 120 days you can put in a new interim and then put up somebody that they're not going to like, maybe again. But the interim people are able to get things done. And if they're people you trust, then who knows what they're accomplishing or at least keeping from happening while they're there. So Judge Jeanine will be the one that's appointed for the temporary for another 120 days while they try to figure out who they're going to get in there. Ed Martin obviously got tapped out, but Trump is tapping on him to be part of this DOJ pardon attorney team that they got going on. It's kind of a tiger team, if you will, working to really attack the weaponization that Joe Biden's administration was doing. So this guy's actually going to be on there. He's going to be one of their primary attorneys. And I think he put a post out. Yeah, he did. Eagle Unleashed. And I think he refers to himself as Eagle. I don't know. His name's at Eagle, Ed Martin. So anyway, Legal Eagle. I don't know what his Eagle thing is. I mean, I think a lot of us like Eagles for many reasons. So I'm not 100% sure what his love of the Eagle is. Whatever the case. It has been unleashed. So cool stuff. Trump obviously he put someone else in there, and I might have that story somewhere else. I thought I did. Okay, so there's Pam Bondi, Kash Patel. A lot of people are pissed off at what's going on with Epstein and everything else. And again, I think this is all by plan. If not, it's a timing issue. We're still maybe trying to work out leaks. I mean, I could think of a lot of speculation as to why I think it might make sense. A lot of these things might still be investigated. Now, Pam Bondi's comments, you'll get there, are a little strange in my mind. But I can also, I don't know, I don't feel like she released anything specific. She didn't really say anything hardcore. And why she didn't go to the public first, she was talking about this with someone that I think she thought was probably a safe conversation. But she ended up saying the exact same thing to the press a few days later. And so I don't know. And I don't know if that was, again, I think this is still trying to find the leaks. And I think that's what she was trying to do. And so it's very easy for her to place back to this moment where this individual was recording her. And I think those things work against her. And like I said, I don't think she said anything crazy. Whatever. Right? It's an odd conversation to have. I'll give that. And then Kash Patel, kind of the same thing. People talk about his comment about whether or not Epstein hung himself and his answer not being what many of us expect. Now, I mean, again, if Epstein's still alive, you can't say that, right? Always in witness protection, like you can't do that. So if just example, again, I don't know, but I could speculate a number of things, and this is just one of them. But if he is in witness protection and someone says, did he kill himself? Don't you have to say yes? Cameras are turned off. Nobody can see it. But don't you have to say yes? So I don't know. I don't think anything's what it seems. I don't think And I think whenever they start attacking people's characters the way they're doing, I think it usually indicates that we're right over the target or they're scared. And I also think we're finding some of the people that we shouldn't trust are coming out and demonstrating that we can't trust them. I think there's a lot of things happening right now. So we've got to be very smart. But needless to say, I want to provide the information, let you guys make up your own minds. Here's the Kash Patel talking to Senator Kennedy. I'm pretty sure I played this a few days ago, but it's still worth hearing again considering where we're at.
Killing. Person with a brain and a beating heart.
Yes, sir.
Did Jeffrey Epstein hang himself or did somebody kill him?
Senator, I believe he hung himself in a cell in the Metropolitan Detention Center.
Are you going to release all the information about that?
Senator, we are working through that right now with the Department of Justice.
When you think you'll have it done, Kash?
I think in the near future, sir.
Like before I die?
Senator, we've been working on that, and we're doing it in a way that protects victims and also doesn't put out into the ether information that is irrelevant for production of the public, such as CSAM.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator Reid.
Again, extraordinarily important to just even... Kash is a smart guy. Kash is able to talk very well on his feet. He had to pick those words very carefully. Very carefully. So I give Kash the pass. This dude won me over a long time ago, and then the way he held himself all the way through the Biden administration, all the countless interviews he did, the stuff he said, his book even, I think the dude's done an admirable job demonstrating what team he's playing for. All right? Many can question that. I'm fine with that. Here's O'Keefe. Again, no slam on him in any way. I don't know. He's the one that's reporting this. And he, I think, said he was reticent to do it, but did nonetheless, which I think was the right choice. But you guys, you decide how you feel about this story.
Yesterday, Attorney General of the United States Pam Bondi was at the White House and disclosed what she represented as brand new information in relation to Jeffrey Epstein, the existence of tens of thousands of videos featuring little children.
There are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn.
Now, this is the first time an official has publicly acknowledged that videos of Epstein and his victims exist. What you may not know is just 9 days prior, the Attorney General had a very similar conversation with a total stranger in a restaurant.
Do you know when the Epstein files are going to get released?
We hope soon. The FBI's been...
Okay.
So,
any dates?
No, you know what it is? There are tons of thousands of videos.
Yeah.
And it's all with little kids, so they have to go through every one.
In the past, officials have spoken about the, quote, mountain of evidence in the Epstein case, but they've never, previous to that moment, acknowledged on the existence of videos of, quote, little kids. Just a few days later, at 2 p.m. on May 1st, our reporter sent the AG's office the text of the recording. We asked why this detail had not been disclosed to the public, but was instead being told to a random stranger at a restaurant. The Attorney General used almost the exact same language as she did with the stranger in the restaurant, language that we shared with her press office.
There are tons of thousands of videos.
Yeah.
And it's all with little kids.
There are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn.
Now, we hesitated to publish this story, but believe, like we did yesterday, that the public has a right to know. And this one raises serious questions. On one hand, why did our country's highest law enforcement official share this information first not with the American people, but with a self-described nanny at brunch? But more importantly, why was this information held back in the first place? Does this show that a government apparatus is still working behind the scenes to protect powerful people involved in the scandal? Based upon the response to our Epstein story yesterday, it's clear that the American people want answers, and they want accountability.
how else do you take a story that half the population wants to ignore and make it something they want to hear about? That's what this is, in my opinion. That's what they're doing. By putting scandal around it, it's going to get them to share this story. They're going to talk about the little children. And all they got to do is just bring the goods. And so the deep state will fall on this. They'll fall into this trap again. Anna Paulina Luna demands immediate release of Epstein files client list. Of course, she's going to demand. And they're not going to give it to her. And it's going to piss a lot of people off. Just saying, it's what's going to happen. Be prepared. She's making noise. Sure, it doesn't make a damn bit of difference. She can, yeah, okay, gotcha. Thanks. Have a good one, Anna. Have a good day. Give a kiss to your child for us all. Trump urges GOP to raise taxes on the wealthy to fund the economic agenda. He's like, yeah, over $2.5 million. Let's do this. And then he like kind of backtracks. And he's like, well, let's not, actually. That President Trump on Friday delivered his clearest remarks yet on whether he wants the Republicans to include a provision raising taxes on wealthier Americans, saying that it's probably not a good idea. The problem with even a tiny tax increase for the rich, which I and all others would graciously accept in order to help the lower and middle income workers. Trump wrote this on his Truth Social. So they're going to go around screaming, read my lips, the fabled quote by George Bush the elder that he said to have cost him the election. So no, Ross Perot cost him the election. In any event, Republicans should probably not do it, but I'm okay if they do. So he's basically saying, look, if you guys want to raise taxes on the rich, it's going to be on you, not me. But whatever you want to do. So if you're making over $2.5 million, good on you. Your tax rate's going to go up to like 39.6%, which, I admit would suck if I was making that kind of money. Amtrak slashes 20% of management and $100 million of savings. This is a pretty big deal. They fired 450 management roles only, they say, which just sounds like the right move. First off, this is a federal company that is bleeding money because that's how federal companies work. Post office is another perfect example of an enterprise that is so poorly managed because it's managed by the government. And all they can do is just throw more money at it. So the people that are working there aren't trying to be more efficient. They're trying to figure out how can we hire more people? How can we get more budget? How can we get paid more? That's all they give a shit about. If we're lucky, we get our mail. Amtrak, same thing. If we're lucky, we'll get you to your destination reasonably close to on time. So big chunk of money, savings there, very good stuff. Trump scraps Biden's Digital Equity Act, calling it illegal. This was the thing where they were trying to give essentially broadband to people in low-income areas. First off, 0 people got any broadband in the 3-4 years that it's been in activity. Hundreds of millions of dollars have been spent. Nothing has come from it. Trump has put a stop to that. He also says it's racist, which it is. It strictly looks at the race of the people involved, whether or not they're going to get this government handout, which is illegal. So he's like, it's not even legal. So whatever the case is, Trump's like, no, F that thing in the F hole. That's not a quote. Should have been a quote. It's not, though. Trump fires consumer watchdog who defied executive order. Yeah, this guy's kind of a douche. Richard Trumka Jr. from the Consumer Product Safety Commission, a week after the Democratic commissioner voted to defy an executive order that asserted the White House power over independent regulatory agencies. White House official confirmed the firing Friday. 2 other Democrats on the commission, Mary Boyle and Alexander Hon-Sarik, were also listed as former commissioners on the agency's website Friday. They could not immediately be reached for comment. Trumka last week voted to advance a rule on lithium-ion battery safety, calling the ubiquitous device ticking time bombs because they can explode if charged improperly. That's not really true. It creates fear, which is what he was trying to do. Makes it so you can't travel with certain things because it could tick a time bomb on the underside of the plane or inside or in your pocket or anything. Nope, can't take phones with you now. So yeah, this is just standard lunacy, frankly. Let's see. New FEMA head says he will run right over staff who resist his change. This new guy, David Richardson, is in the seat. So the new head and basically told the staff, yep, I'll run right over anyone that resists change, and that all delegations of authority in the agency is immediately suspended. No one's allowed to do anything without it bubbling all the way to me. It's also a good way to, 1, find the leaks, 2, identify who actually does what they're supposed to. The ones that immediately break the rules, you immediately fire. It's awesome. This is textbook what Doge has been doing. It's fantastic. I like how the quote is run right over. And they end the quote, and then they continue with anyone that resists changes. It's like, what did he actually say? You know, they quote that part. Was it out of context heavily? I mean, anyway, so I don't know how, but I didn't go digging for it. Don't frankly care that much. Newark air travel was hit by a new 90-second communication blackout. Remember the 30-second one we had? And we're like, oh my God, 30 seconds. Damn. Yeah, that was 3 times longer. Just, having fun with math. 90 seconds. Holy shizzle. 90 seconds. Daggum, as they would say in the business. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton has issued indictments for 6 individuals allegedly involved in election crimes related to vote harvesting. There was a grand jury thing. They've already, I think, arrested them. It seems like this was a reasonably big operation. I say that compared to usually it's like they got 6 votes on them. But these guys were taking in money and money for these ballots, and probably were, my guess is, asking for extra ballots that they were then filling out and getting paid for in some weird way. So whatever the case is, we'll see if anything comes from it, but at least stuff's happening. Columbia University lays off nearly 180 staff after federal grant revocations. You lose $400 million in federal research funding, and all of a sudden, we got to let some people go. Yes, they do. 180 staff are on their way out the door. All right, there's a huge amount of crazy going on with and around this hiring of, what's this lady's name that they're hiring? His ex-vice president chick doesn't seem to like her, but this Casey Means and his family, this is bringing Laura Loomer out of the friggin' woodwork. I don't know what the shit's going on. This is awesome. I'm actually loving people just melting down and attacking each other, because that's when, I don't know, like attacking each other is pretty hardcore for me. Like, I feel like we might bitch about each other. We might have like, I don't think that guy's telling the truth, right? And then when people get all pissed at us when we do that, I get you. But like literally attacking someone, like they've been doing that to Flynn. They've been doing that to obviously Trump, Cash, Pam, RFK Jr. And it's just funny who the people are that are getting attacked. And curious who's kind of attacking, not attacking, maybe in the middle, which I kind of think the vice president chick, whatever her name is, it'll come up here in a second. You know me and names, I don't care. So yeah, I don't know. Be interesting. But here's RFK Jr. just talking about it first. We'll start with his perspective, his reasoning, and then we'll work through everybody that's speculating.
Casey Means, we felt, was the best person to really bring the vision of MAHA to the American public. She has this unique capacity to articulate it. She's written a book that really mobilized, galvanized the movement. She is an extraordinary, she is excellence in everything that she's ever endeavored.
Obviously, she's come under her own criticism about some of the things she's advocated for. She never finished her residency, and she doesn't currently have an active medical license. But that's not...
She was the very top of her medical class at Stanford. She's during her residency, she won every award that she could win. She walked away from traditional medicine because she was not curing patients. She couldn't get anybody within her profession to look at the nutrition contributions to illness. And she said, if we're really going to heal people, if we're healers, we can't just be making our life about billing new procedures. We actually have to figure out new approaches to medicine. And that's the kind of leadership that she's going to bring to our country.
And last thing on this, your former running mate weighed in today saying that she wasn't happy about this and said that you're somehow being controlled. Your decisions are being controlled. That's what she posted.
Listen, you guys sitting here, 4 people who were all canceled during COVID.
Yeah, that's right.
these people are, you've got the entire leadership of this agency is renegades who are juggernauts against convention and who are trying to look for truth no matter what the cost.
So nobody's controlling your
Casey
decision.
is among those.
So again, he didn't want to be mean to his friend, and I appreciate that, and actually had her quote, and I'm glad they actually put that in there. But I mean, he's kind of right too. These other guys are all like, yeah, they're like rule breakers, right? So what's happening right now is kind of a trip, but yeah. So Senator Kennedy's absurd attacks on Casey Means reveal just how far off course our healthcare conversations have veered, and how badly entrenched interests, including big food and its industry, funded social media gurus are terrified of change. So yes, I have little doubt that these companies and their conflicted media outlets will continue to pay bloggers and other social media influencers to weaponize innuendo, to slander and vilify Casey the same way that they try to defame me and President Trump. And he's right, and this is what's going to happen. Money will make it happen, and I can think of some of these people that I think this is going to be a bigger problem for than others, most likely. Someone controlling RFK Jr. decisions. This again is his friend saying this. I don't think that's the truth. Like he said, I agree with Kennedy, and I'm giving these people a chance. Now, Laura Loomer, and there was a call out, I thought it was on one of these articles. Already on track. All right. So Laura Loomer just admitted she went to the White House yesterday to tell them that I was a never Trumper. And it's talking about this gentleman here. And he said, basically, below is the only time those words ever came out of my mouth. Watch the video. Laura explicitly said that I didn't support Trump in 2016. Right? So Laura's trying to say this guy is a never Trumper. Again, my point is Laura's, I don't know what's going on. And I think Trump likes what she's doing, but sometimes misinformation chaff is a good thing, right? And you can't necessarily call it that to their face. So I think Trump knows exactly what Laura is and applauds her, if you will, and somehow she's got a close ear to him. But I don't know. I don't think it's that simple. Anyway, here's this guy talking about what Laura's done.
There's a true connection of these two men and a true deep bond, which I think you're seeing out there on the campaign trail, that this transcends politics, and Trump wants this to be a generational issue for him. And I just want to say something. I think we're at a big moment here. We're debating trivia. Like, I think the two most existential issues are nuclear war or what's happening to our health. And whatever you think, and I used to be a never Trumper. Watching him care about this issue, watching what's happening with the RFK, watching what's happening of how that's resonating with voters, seeing Smalley, from my small vantage point inside, there is tremendous connection of these two men and moral clarity of seeing what's happening. And my question is this: there's a true connection of these two men.
Let's try hitting the right button. Yeah, exactly. So. Again, not trying to pick on Laura. I don't fully understand what's up with her. I really don't. I've always been very confused by her. I disregard a lot of what she has to say. So I usually don't worry too much about it. All right, here's where I'm finally going to figure it out. Now we're good. So this is where Laura Loomer posted, "You're so full of shit, Kali Means. You are a PR spin master." I guess I don't have her quote, but whatever. She goes, "You're a PR spin master. Funny how you never talk about your career in PR and crisis management." One of the things the chick said, and maybe I've got it next, we'll see, was, she made an accusation of Laura and where some of her money was coming from, I think, and basically said, look, if this is wrong, sue me, and we'll see you in discovery. So her response: "You're a PR spin master," which is true. And you're threatened to buy my access to President Trump, and the fact that White House officials called me to discuss the posts I made about your sister. Why? Because nobody who works for Trump showed him any of these receipts on your degenerate sister. I was told your sister was hired to do crisis PR, and that you are paying the right-wing podcasters who are giving her endorsements despite her lack of qualifications. Maybe you should sue me, and we'll find out in discovery. You are lashing out because your lies have actually made their way to the president. Accuse me of taking money from whoever you want." There's a bunch, huh? "Whoever you want. You're on video admitting you are a never Trumper. You and your sister both admit to recreational drug use." admitted to marijuana, so it's legal. I mean, I don't know. Does that fall into there? Your sister lied about the real reason why she didn't finish residency. She said because the medical profession is corrupt. Today we learned the real reason. Her colleague said your sister at Casey Means MD is a severe anxiety disorder which caused her not to finish her residency. Is this why her patients were not getting better? Is it because she was using psilocybin and she admitted in her own newsletter? Oh, mushrooms? Those are good stuff too. Psilocybin is illegal. Psilocybin is a Schedule I substance under the Controlled Substance Act. Schedule I drugs, which include heroin and LSD, have a high potential for abuse and serve no legitimate. That's so true. Mushrooms are not abusive. You don't want to do mushrooms often. I'm just telling you. That's not the same thing as heroin. LSD is also, it takes so much of your dopamine out of your body. You don't want to do them again for a long time, or at least a while. It's just, it's tough. But your sister calls these drugs plant medicines, which LSD is not. Heroin technically is, and psilocybin totally is. You're literally eating a mushroom. Whatever. Again, whatever. Some people have very strong views. My dad, like with pot, he's like, it's a drug. And it's like, really, it's not. It's an herb. I mean, it grows all over the place. Animals eat it, and they get all buzzed when they eat it. Like, it's so, God made it. So you don't have to do anything to it. Mushrooms are like that, too. It's interesting. So, anyway, all this nonsense. This is their fight. This is what's going on. I don't know. Steve Witkoff shreds his total fake news. The neocon element believes that war is the only way to solve things. This is a pretty good little 3 minutes. There's 2 questions that I thought he answered brilliantly.
So what we've seen is, again, these attacks have continued from these critics. But another one that I saw out there, fake news, I think it was Politico and among other places were trying to say, there's all sorts of daylight between you and Secretary Rubio on a lot of these talks. Talk to us a little bit about that. I know you guys issued a joint statement in response to that stuff, but from what I understand, you guys have a great working relationship, and everybody else I've talked to around President Trump that's involved in these talks, everybody speaks highly of you, and they all say the whole team is working together very well. So what's your response to those attacks?
It is total fake news. The Secretary of State and I are close friends. We don't just have a cordial working relationship together. We have a real friendship, a deep friendship, and we confer and we talk all the time. I might talk to the Secretary of State 5 to 7 times a day. And I'm not talking, and that's, on our telephones. I'm not even talking about situation room calls or meetings that we have or joint meetings that we have in the Oval Office. We are, there's no daylight between us, and we're both very, very similar in our policy approach. So I read that story, Matt. I thought to myself, who are they talking about? I could not figure out who they were talking about.
Yeah, it's truly unbelievable. I think that the part of the reason why this maybe is happening is that, again, some of these people maybe don't want a deal. They don't want to see peace reached in a lot of these places. They don't want to see a deal with the Iranians. They like conflict. They don't want to see a deal reached with Gaza. They don't want to see a war end in Ukraine. What say you?
I say it's confirmation bias. They believe they have a bias towards military interaction, and so in their minds, anything that is of a military solution, of a military nature to be a solution to that problem, they have a bias towards that, with no consideration whatsoever on what the consequences are of that. And you hear this all the time. You hear people say, no, we have to go treat that person with force. The Iranians are going to manipulate you in a dialogue, and so you're not going to be effective there. They may attempt to manipulate me. I don't think that they're going to be able to manipulate me. In that particular example, if the Iranians make the mistake of thinking that they can procrastinate at the table, then they won't see much of me. And the alternative, as the president says, will be a bad alternative for them. But you're right. The neocon element believes that war is the only way to solve things. And the president believes that his force of personality, the way he is going to respond to situations, can bend people to do things in a much better way in the interests of the United States government. And I believe in that, too.
So the last thing here on the critics, and then I want to get into several of the major theaters of the various talks that you're having around the world, because it's really important stuff. But one of the things that you'll hear them say is they will say, oh, you need to have experts with you that know what they're doing when you're going in to go meet with Vladimir Putin, or you're going in to go meet with the Iranians or whatever. First off, I mean, I think you do have a lot of experts around. I've met a bunch of your staffers today before this interview and in the lead up to it. But also, those same career foreign policy people are the people that got us into this mess to begin with. I mean, what do you say to those critics that say, oh, we need to have, when you go into the room in this place, you need to have this expert and that expert and whatever. I mean, what do you say to those people?
Well, I think some of them are well-meaning, but that doesn't mean that well-meaning translates into doing the job in a way that is the most efficient. So I think people are well-meaning. There are some who have bad motivations. There's no doubt about that. But I don't think everybody has a bad motivation. I just think that they're used to doing things in a certain way that's historically been that way, and it's very inert and bureaucratic, and it doesn't seem to work. The Israeli negotiation, the hostage negotiation, is a perfect example of it. They spent 15 months working on that hostage negotiation, and we came in, and we means the Trump administration, and we were able to correct what had not been an efficient negotiation, and we got a lot of hostages home alive as a result of that. So.
Yeah, so again, just the way things were being handled in the prior administration, the fact that Trump knows how to negotiate, it's just a different world nowadays. 1,000-ish troops are going to be, let go or asked to decide to go. But anybody that's identifying as transgender or has essentially gender dysphoria, they are out of the military. I think if they go out on good terms, they get paid, and probably a positive thing. But if they wait, then maybe it's a dishonorable. I don't know. It wasn't really specified in here. But it is definitely appreciated, let's say, if you choose not to go down the road of making them fire you. Love these products, guys. Healthy Home. Heal thy home. Hugely good stuff. The stem cells are amazing. Just a healing process. I'm hearing stories from everybody. I'm loving it. There is all sorts of different ailments that we have. And I mean, injuries. I mean, cuts, abrasions, insect bites, anything. Torn muscles, jacked up joints, anything that needs a little bit of love. Stem cells are how that love happens inside the body. As we age, our stem cell count starts to reduce just normally, so your ability to age or heal starts to suck. This enhances your own stem cell production. It's not giving you stem cells. There's no stem cells inside this product. It's natural products that help your body up its stem cell production. And this creates more healing ability within your own body. It's an amazing product. Stem Active, 2 different ways to get it. The gel, I think, is actually a little bit cheaper. It's more of a liquid. The Stem Active, the pills, some people think are large. I don't think they're that big. Try to get one out quickly. I've got giant hands or little hands. I don't know, maybe whatever makes it work better for you. But still, yeah, excellent product. I use the pills. I like the pills. It's just easier. Balance is an incredible product for hormone support. A lot of hormone changes start happening as the ladies start to get a little older, best I understand. And this is a plant-based. It doesn't do any hormone replacement or hormone inserting in your body. What it does is it lets your body once again power through this and be better at it than it previously was. This is a lotion that's transdermal. You put a little bit on your wrist, you rub your other wrist on it. This is just 2 good places where the vessels are, and it gets into your system. And ladies are raving about this Balance, and it's actually lasting them, 2 to 3 months too. This product. It's interesting how that works. Amaze, my girlfriend, loves this product. She's doubled up on it because of what's going on in her world. Her shoulder, by the way, is significantly better. Calcification. It's actually tripping me out. Now, she's attributing it to Stem Active. I think that's 100% what it is. She had calcification. I saw it in the x-ray. It's in the x-ray. She's actually like it's better. She hugs me in the morning now instead of just shouldering into me. It's a much better thing. This collagen support also helps. She's been having a little bit of an issue with her hair falling out and freaking out about it. So we've been doubling up on the collagen. So she's stoked. She knows she's giving it everything she's got, and she's on medication even. Again, it's long stories, but it is what it is. My girlfriend is going hardcore, and we love the products. I've got it right here. I've been doing the collagen daily again. Stopped doing it for a little while because I was kind of curious to see. And yes, it actually makes a difference. Or makes a difference doing it, I should say. My skin seems better, especially down on my legs. I got nasty legs, kind of, especially white and pasty. Fantastic. It's hard to get them like that. Again, just a great product. It gets collagen peptides. Collagen is the most important protein. You got sore, sagging skin, sore muscles, joint discomfort, lifeless hair, all that stuff. Fixes all of it. And it's one of the best supplements that you can use for getting collagen in your body, and the peptides are the way to go. Prime is something they're doing a special on right now, too. I think if you start up an account and you get like $300 worth of stuff, 400, something like that, $399, whatever it was, like there's a range, and you're going to get a free Prime thrown in on it. So they got some really cool deals going on. That's when you go to join and you want to become a member. Again, there's 3 ways to join. Some of you guys are currently customers and you want to change that. I highly recommend you reach out to their customer service and be like, yeah, so my guy that's supporting me, he kind of suggests I try to become an executive member. How do I transition my account from a customer to an executive member? And then they'll hopefully help you do that. Really, if you haven't joined yet, if you haven't bought anything yet, I recommend it. You get the best pricing. All you got to do is there's like a whole list of things that you can buy to actually start it. Some of them are just great. Like you can buy a few different products at once. You get free shipping for life. Like they just got a lot of really cool little package deals. But if you just want like 1 bottle of STEM Active, they've got that. Order 1 bottle of STEM Active. Boom, you're an executive member. Now you're not paying a monthly fee. You get the lowest pricing. It's just the best way to go. It just is. It doesn't cost you anything. This costs you $10 a month. This doesn't, right? And again, both of these allow you to be able to sell the product too. If you like the product, you actually get a website. You get to put a link in there and you can give it to your friends and be like, yeah, you should try this stuff out. It's incredible. Go to this link. And they're like, is that you? And it's like, it's just a side hustle, whatever, right? Starts off that way. You'd be surprised because this product's amazing. So that's where the joining comes into play. And you want to keep that in mind. And there's that free Prime deal that's in there. Highly recommend considering taking advantage of that. But of course, we're going to do, let's make sure I can find this again. But yes, the danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. And I think the pet STEM Active for Pets was the last product that I hadn't mentioned yet. And this stuff's awesome. It's actually reasonably inexpensive. You've got an animal that's been through a surgery, animal that's got some damage, maybe hip dysplasia and stuff like that. You'd be surprised how much this will actually probably help your animal. It's harder to get confirmation from. It's the only reason I say probably. I've seen major confirmation from humans. And that can actually tell you things. Dogs, you just notice they walk better. They seem to be acting better. They seem to have a little more joy in their life than they used to. Almost like their body's somewhat rejuvenated. I highly recommend you check it out. Good products indeed. Go to danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. That's danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. The shop tab will get there. These are all the products. You can learn more. You can buy from there, or you can just go straight to shop and just start to see. They've got some bundled stuff. They got a lot of good stuff in there. And again, joining, I highly recommend. It is the way to go. Again, I think you've got to ultimately create an account, and that's so either you're going to create a customer account, or again, highly recommend you create an executive member account. And go down that route. It's just you get better pricing. It's literally like cheaper. And then you can also do these subscriptions and save money that way too. You could save like another 5% or so on subscriptions. It's just a better way to go than becoming a member. I think there's a little more info that you got to give, but heck, you're buying something and I don't know. It's a good product. You might as well get the best price you can get and kind of go that route. It's just going to work out better for you in the big picture. So anyway, go to danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. That's danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. Healthy choices, folks. When you make healthy choices, you will do healthier things. All right, Paradise for Two. Yeah, they've got a whole lot of quick shop. They just got some really cool stuff. This is a great company. I really like this company a lot. Very, very happy with this company. It was a perfect fit for my audience and for me, for that matter. Mexico is apparently suing Google over Gulf of America. I just think that's hilariously funny, and I can't help myself for thinking it's hilariously funny. But it is one of those things where, I can't believe I'm trying to do these two things at once. I shouldn't be. Whatever. Hang on. Give me a second here, guys. Apologize. Stupid. Okay, apologize. Brussels sues 5 EU countries for failing to enforce digital censorship. Again, just weird countries that they're going after, too. But Brussels, obviously going after these guys. They have not set up this this group that's meant to silence any sort of dissent or misinformation, malinformation. It's just basically it's an arm to control a digital service coordinator to control or have the ability for EU to say, hey, there's a Czech citizen that's spouting off stuff that's bad about Ursula von der Leyen, and she doesn't want that to happen. So anyway, whatever the case is, Czechia, Spain, Cyprus, Poland, and Portugal, they all are apparently not following the rules, so they're in trouble with the old Ursula von der Leyen, or whatever the hell her damn name is. China's cyber attacks and concern that the United States has seems to be reasonably legit. We've got a couple little articles here from NTD News. Not bad. This chick's got an interesting accent, but she's cute. I like that. You guys know that?
How serious are China's cyber attacks to American infrastructure? The acting director of the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency took questions from lawmakers to assess and address the issue. NTD correspondent Jason Blair reports.
China is the most prolific, dominant threat we have. And they are doing it for 3 reasons.
The acting administrator for the Cyber and Infrastructure Security Agency, or CISA, says the primary reasons for the Chinese Communist Party's cyber attacks are for espionage, stealing intellectual property, and to get into critical U.S. infrastructure.
And they are waiting. They are patient, they're persistent, they have decades of experience.
The CCP is actively exploiting gaps in infrastructure to sow that chaos and instability, embedding within our critical systems and positioning to strike when it suits them, as we know.
Bridget Bean says critical infrastructure is the backbone of U.S. national and economic security.
We need to make it harder for them. We need to make sure that we are leveraging every partnership we have, that we're making sure that people understand the threat, that everybody is doing what they need to do.
Salt Typhoon and Volt Typhoon are 2 recent large-scale cyber attacks taken against critical American infrastructure by CCP state-sponsored actors. How to respond to these attacks has been the subject of many recent hearings on Capitol Hill. Federal legislation like the Strengthening Cyber Resilience Against State-Sponsored Threats Act has been making its way through Congress.
So we want to make sure at CISA that we are working with the critical infrastructure in our country, whether it's the electrical grid, whether it's clean drinking water, whether it's our healthcare, right? So it's our communications.
States have also taken steps to protect themselves against cyber attacks. Texas Governor Greg Abbott issued an executive order last fall to combat these cyber attacks from the CCP, especially in regards to the state's electrical grid. Reporting in Washington, D.C., Jason Blair, NTD News.
See, it implies that there's more coming, guys. I'm going to keep talking about the stock market and all this stuff. This is kind of why I don't think we're necessarily done with the hard parts. We just got the right people almost in play, so we can finally go through this last phase with an actual good team. We'll see how it goes. U.S. Typhoon missiles are, they're being put in the region by China to remind China, hey, you can't do anything too crazy.
American forces are honing their tactics for countering Beijing in the Indo-Pacific, and tensions in the region are running high. The general leading the U.S. Army Pacific commented on the matter. General Ronald Clark leads U.S. Army Pacific, a major player in the U.S. Indo-Pacific Command. He says it's an extraordinary time in the region and a dangerous one, citing China's aggressive behavior there. Looking at Beijing's plan to invade democratic Taiwan, China has been ramping up its military pressure on the island. Chinese military drills simulating a blockade of the island have become a regular sight since 2022. Chinese military leaders understand that a cross-strait invasion would be extremely difficult if American forces are able to respond quickly. Because of that, analysts say the Chinese regime is working to isolate Taiwan and keep American warships and aircrafts far away. To counter that, the U.S. is bolstering its posture. American ground forces positioned along what's called the First Island Chain are now forming more flexible units capable of striking Chinese assets from land. Something to note, the First Island Chain is made up of sections of Japan, Taiwan, and the Philippines. It serves to block Chinese warships and submarines from accessing the deepest and strategically critical waters of the Pacific. The U.S. is also deploying new missile systems to the Philippines, including one, the Typhoon, that launches powerful Tomahawk missiles and can hit mainland China. On top of that, Washington is also upgrading key bases in the region to help shorten U.S. troop response times. General Clark says the U.S. is moving full steam ahead.
Now, again, this just demonstrates that we have stuff in place that are making it difficult for China, too. China's submarines are no match for ours. Not even close. Not even close. all day long. There's some stupid story that went around that one popped up in the middle of one of our fleets. I doubt that was because they were just trying to be like, surprise, we're here. That would almost immediately be met with a bad experience. Likely what happened is we friggin' knew they were there, and they were like, popped up. Because it's like, okay, you caught us, you know? So, I don't know. Whatever the case is, China is being, just like everybody else, nobody's allowed to get too out of control. The world's been putting pieces of all over the place, right? Ukraine's parliament ratifies the U.S. mineral deal, so that is a done deal for sure now. Trump calls for a 30-day ceasefire, which hopefully is being respected. Today is Victory Day as far as Russia is concerned. I think yesterday really for us because of the time difference, right? V-Day for us, I hope. Whatever the case. Key takeaways. Russia basically just, look, we're going to keep fighting Nazism and all this Russophobia, anti-Semitism, all this crap. All the stuff that really is nasty, and that's what he kind of talks about. This is essentially a social cancer that needs to be, I don't want to say it needs to be removed. It needs to be not allowed. It needs to be something that we are able to not choose. Because ultimately every person has the choice to choose dark, right? And anti-Semitism, Russophobia in their case, and Nazism are all dark thinking, right? So is killing people, by the way. So, again, I am not generally fond of the kill. If you've got to defend, sure, and I get it's a little more complex, but a lot of this stuff, again, has been created by the deep state. So to assume that this group of people is definitely horrible, or my favorite is that horrible things are human nature, which is absolutely not true. Because you don't go out and kill people. I don't go out and kill people. It is not human nature. It's evil's nature. Evil does evil. And it is in evil's nature to do that, but certainly not humans. Most humans are actually very good people. For the well, okay, that's stretching a little, but you get my point. They don't run around and kill people, that's for sure. Putin and Trump exchanged greetings on Victory Day, so they through intermediaries, which I think is kind of hilarious, frankly, that they're going to do it that way. Yeah, it won't matter. Cool. I can ignore that from here on out. But yeah, Trump and Putin managed to do the right thing. Trump says he's going to ask China to help with this Ukraine conflict. That's a brilliant idea. One, it gets them involved, too. It's a multipolar world. It's giving respect to the other side of things. It's also a lot closer to Russia and China as far as the problem is concerned. Far less of our problem. And this is basically Trump saying, look, we're done with this. We're done. And that's what Trump did. He got us out of the war, at least. Hopefully, we can bring Ukraine and Russia with us in that regard. Because it'd be good for business and everything else. But we're done. We're done. Dunskies. So yeah, that's good news as well. Okay, so this was posted. I don't know if it's true. I'm kind of doubtful it is. Israeli Army radio reported that President Trump has decided to cut contact with Netanyahu, stating that Netanyahu and his associates act arrogant and try to push around the president, that they're having some sort of little tiff. Now, this is interesting because I know there's some questions over who's in control of what, but Israeli Army radio, Netanyahu obviously has a bit of a problem in his ranks that he's going to have to deal with. I don't know. Defense Secretary Hegseth, this story came out. AF Post. It's another Israeli site, I think. America First Perspective. Not affiliated with any organization, podcast, or activities. Sure you're not. But they say Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth canceled his Israeli trip amid Trump's break in direct contact with Netanyahu. Well, then this story came out to clarify further. I don't know why Sean Parnell's the one putting it out. But he said Secretary Hegseth did not cancel his trip to Israel. He was asked to join President Trump's Middle East trip next week and is honored to do so. SecDef very much looks forward to visiting our ally Israel soon. Maybe it's true. Maybe they're covering it differently. I kind of think, if anything, it has more to do with the fact that Israel's about to do something that we don't want to be like a part of, right? If they're going to attack Iran, it's like, all right, this is you all. Again, I don't know. Or continuing attacking in Yemen and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. We're going to see. That much I know. I don't want to have to be the guesser of the future, guys. That's a suck job, and you're going to be wrong most of the time anyway, so not worth it. Not worth the effort. Right now we're seeing this weird situation with technology play out in India and Pakistan. Now, everyone's paying attention to it because they're looking at it like, all right, so this tells us how good our equipment is. And it was kind of like the first Persian Gulf War, where we were here attacking them. Well, we were going there with our brand new 1991 tanks, basically. The M1A1 at the time, which is an excellent tank. And we were attacking 1970s and 1950s era tanks. And we annihilated them. We blowed them up. We could hit them from so much further away. So all we had to do was just park outside their range. And if they did manage to arc a shell that hit us, it'd bounce off because it was just, the shell didn't have any power to it anymore. So it didn't hurt. And we were hitting them within our range, our lethal range. So we're just destroying them. It was, I mean, if you're a tank commander, it was probably fun. I don't mean that, I mean, that's kind of gory in a weird way, but. So there's a lot of comparisons between, your thing and my thing. So whatever the case is, both sides are shooting drones all over the place. Everybody's shooting them down. Some are getting through, right? Israeli made a bunch of drones for India. A bunch of them were shot down. India has been attacked by drones from Pakistan that have been shot down. Indian armed forces is Israel's major client. Let's see, I thought they might have said in here who the other drone manufacturers are, Iran and everybody else. Who knows? But yeah, so they're shooting down each other's stuff. Also finding out that Pakistan's Chinese-made jet brought down 2 Indian fighter aircraft, U.S. officials say. So this is kind of a effed up story to begin with. First off, it's a Reuters story. Second off, what we're talking about is, and I'm not trying to give credit to anybody, all right? That's, in fact, the opposite of what I'm doing here, frankly, because I don't necessarily like the French. You guys know that. I'm not ripping on you guys at the moment, but I also think China's stuff is over kind of assessed. But they're talking about how the Chinese-made fighter, the J-10, I believe it is fighting against the Rafale, I think it is. That's how you say that. Rafale is a different plane, but the Rafale, it is a French-made aircraft. Okay. Now, the Rafale was manufactured, initially back in the 70s, but some of these are back in the 80s. Its first flight, the Rafale, first flight was in 1986. And really it went in around 1991. As far as service, this is it right here. Right? This is what Pakistan, flying the Chinese plane, shot down 2 Indian aircraft that were this variety. Chinese J-10 Vigorous Dragon, the Chengdu is who makes it. And its first flight was, first flight was 1998. Went into manufacturing in 2002. Kind of a much newer aircraft. And oddly, when you look at the pictures, which we'll compare here, very similar to the Rafale. Very similar, right? There's the Rafale. It's actually got the winglet, I thought, on some of the models, but a very similar aircraft to the Rafale. It's got this winglet up front, or the canard, I think they call it. Needless to say, the Chinese jet has apparently been outperforming. Maybe it's the training. And this, again, it's just like a weird part of this. You would expect India to be kicking ass, but India is not doing that well, at least from what we're hearing. Vance basically said, look, if there's a war between India and Pakistan, that's not going to be any of our business. We're not getting involved. Basically, we don't give a shit. And that's probably the best approach to have at this point. Just a funny story. I think the Philippines, Duterte, he is running for mayor while he's in jail. He's literally in The Hague in jail. And he's running for mayor for his hometown, which is, I'm probably saying this wrong. I didn't have a chance to talk to my girlfriend. It's her day off, and I didn't want to bug her at home. But Davao, I'm not sure how she says it. Davao? I try to just say it with her accent. Davao? Anyway, Davao City, Duterte, this is where he's from. He's actually on the ticket while he's in jail. So there you go. And then How to feel about the whole Duterte and the dude that's in right now? Man, it's interesting. There's some stories about both these dudes. But people seem, from what my girlfriend says, they really like Duterte. He killed people. That's why he killed drug users and drug dealers, I guess. And people said they felt safer. I don't know if they're just afraid to say otherwise because Duterte would kill them. I don't know. But he was kind of respected, it seems. That's what I keep getting from my girlfriend. She likes Duterte. She thought he was good. She didn't live there at the time, but her family does. And she talks to them a lot, like constantly, all the damn time. I don't like my family that much. It's very different cultures. It's funny, here in the States, like, or white maybe, I don't know, probably mostly white. We're like, yeah, as soon as I could get out of the house, I got out of the house. Like, I was trying to get away from my parents as quickly as possible. And all the other cultures are like, nah, I lived at home until I was 72. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Democrats fume over Biden's return to the spotlight. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Biden, I don't know, he's pissing everybody off. And I love it. Yeah, I love it. Biden's an idiot. And this guy's basically saying, look, here's the thing. If you care about the party, well, you're all about the party, in which case, GTFO, get the F out. But he goes, that's not what Biden's about, and it's not what they've ever been about. They've always been about themselves. Whoa. Wow. Now all of a sudden we can admit the truth. But yeah, the Dems are attacking each other. I feel like I bailed on one of these stories. Yeah, I had a different story up. It was Biden. I don't know. It was one of his stupid talks. I wasn't going to play it, but the headline was good enough. Whatever the case, there's a little bit of fun going on there. We've got a lot happening, folks. Lots changing, lots happening. We're going to continue to fight this fight shoulder to shoulder. I'm going to keep rolling with you. Got a live show coming up here in an hour and a half, 2.5 hours. Probably that. That's better. And we should hopefully give you guys a chance to watch this video before the live show starts. I love you guys. We're going to be doing some fun 80s music if you get a chance to check it out. Also did a fun Law of One episode last night. 13 to 14 were the 2 sessions, and it was good. Very good show. So hopefully you guys can check those shows out. That said, news 6 days a week, typically. And then we've got the community show that we do. It's not this Saturday. In fact, the next Saturday is the third Saturday. That's the $5 meeting. If you go to onthefringe.locals.com and donate actively $5 a month, you're going to get invited to the third Saturday of the month. A Zoom meeting. We just hang out, ask questions, whatever you want, just ask crazy stuff if you want. We've had some people ask some really saucy questions even for that matter, but usually just have fun hanging out. And then the fourth Saturday of every month at the same time, it's 1 p.m. Pacific. By the way, 4 p.m. Eastern is the time. It's just, I got to pick a time on these Saturdays, both at the same time. That's the $25 show, so actively donate $25. You'll be a part of this. And that's, we broadcast that show. That's a lot of fun. So we broadcast it live. There's usually quite a few people that see it. And if you've got like a business or something like that, a lot of times it's a smart move to try to, put your name out there. So it's a good way to do that. All said, it happens, of course, in this wonderful network I call On the Fringe. I love you guys. We're going to continue fighting this fight. Where we go one, we certainly go all. It's On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.